All right, this is Joe and Cole with OKRAW.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and where I'm at today is the National Heirloom Expo 2016, and we're in the hall with all the different heirloom fruits and vegetables. They got like displays of like garlic and tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and melons and squash and watermelons and more squash. As you guys can see, the squash tower behind me. But what I'm going to share with you guys today is how to pick out a ripe watermelon. I know many of you guys have had this problem before, and it really bothers me a lot when I get an unripe watermelon or one that just doesn't taste sweet, that's not good. In standard, commerce, if you go down to your local store, they're often picked too early, and then they're just shipped and trucked, and then they're sold, right? So I encourage you to grow your own melons, to have the highest quality melons. Next, maybe go to the local farmer's market where they can be even better, but not always, because I've gotten some local melons in my area that have actually been worse than store-bought. But anyways, in this episode, I'm going to share with you guys my 21 years of picking out watermelons and learning and getting better every year, and share with you guys my top tips so that you guys could pick a ripe, sweet watermelon the first time. Anyways, let's go head over to the heirloom watermelon section and share with you guys my tips on the watermelons they have on display today. So now I'm in the watermelon section, and as you guys can see, there's just tables upon tables and tables and tables of heirloom watermelons being grown. Now, first I want to let you guys know that there's many varieties of watermelons, and unfortunately, if you're buying watermelon at the store, generally there's only a couple categories. There's seedless watermelons, seeded watermelons, and personal watermelons. There's only 3 kinds, but here they have 7 tables of easily over 100 different varieties of melons. This one right here is actually called the orange flesh tender sweet, but you couldn't tell from looking at it on the outside because it's just still that standard green color. There's some watermelons that are actually yellow on the outside, and ones that are yellow on the inside, and there's even ones that are white on the inside, and they're all a little bit different, and they're all amazing. Now, I would encourage you to visit a local Asian market. They may actually have the yellow watermelons near you, which is actually some of my favorite ones. Instead of red, I prefer the yellow watermelons. And I always encourage you guys to get the seeded watermelons, right? There's nutrition in the seeds, so a seeded watermelon is always going to be more nutritious than a seedless, because if you eat the seeds, you're getting the nutrition from the seeds. And furthermore, you can actually save the seeds and plant them in your garden to grow watermelons the next years and save yourself the hassle and cost of buying a seed packet. Anyways, what we're going to do next is actually go down and share with you guys my top tips on selecting a ripe watermelon, and this is going to be in order from most important to least important. So let's head down and share with you guys my first tip. So the first tip I want to share with you guys, and that's the most important, is use your nose to select a ripe fruit. Most fruits actually have some kind of odor or smell good, floral, when they're ripe. And that includes watermelons, even though you may think watermelons don't smell, and that's because most of the watermelons you guys ever smelled are picked unripe, so they don't actually have a scent yet. The scent comes out, when the fruit is more mature and more sweet. So yeah, try to sniff the whole barrel or selection of watermelons. You're gonna kind of look a bit weird to a lot of people, and find the ripe one. So what I'm looking at here is the strawberry watermelon. And of all the melons here, like when I walked by this section, I instantly smelled like, wow, something in this area smells good. Then I was like smelling all the different watermelons in the area. And this one, when I smelled it, it actually smells kind of sweet. And I don't know if that's why this won first place, but yeah. So yeah, it smells really good. So that's gonna be the first indicator. Like if it smells good, that's definitely a good indicator that it's ripe. But I don't want you guys to use any one of these tips that I'm sharing with you guys to pick a ripe one. You want to try to get, all the different tips in one melon. So if it smells good and it meets some of the other criteria that I'm going to share with you guys in a minute, then that's definitely a good candidate. And what I'll generally do when I go to a store is I'll use all these tips, and I'll kind of try to find ones that meet my criteria, and then bring them off to a certain area. So I'll have 5 out of the whole display, and then I'll go down and then further touch, feel, smell each one to find the best one that I'm going to end up buying and then eating. All right, so let's move on and share with you guys the next tip. So the next tip I want to share with you guys is actually really important, and if a watermelon demonstrates this, then actually I don't buy it. So what we're looking at here are actually the white wonders. So these watermelons are called white wonders. They just look like a standard watermelon on the inside, but if we cut this in half and open it up, it's actually white on the inside. There's so many amazing varieties of heirloom melons, and if you're not familiar with them, I do encourage you guys to visit rareseeds.com, get their free seed catalog, and in their seed catalog you could order the seeds to grow these heirloom melons, plus they have many awesome pictures so you can actually see what they look like. Unfortunately, you can't taste what they look like unless you buy them. So anyways, the tip now is actually once you find a watermelon, you want to like press into it. See how kind of I'm like pressing into it? I don't know, you guys probably can't see that, but when I press into it, it actually gives. It's kind of like a mildly ripe avocado. In avocado, actually, you want to be able to press into it to know that it's ripe so that you can eat it. The watermelons, on the other hand, are the complete opposite. If it presses in, to me, that means it's actually been off the vine so long, it's been, and kind of past its maturity, past its prime. Not to say that it's gonna be bad, but if it's definitely pressable, then it's not one that I generally would want to buy. I would try to find one that's actually firm that you actually can't depress. So yeah, another important tip for you guys. Third tip I wanna share with you guys on picking a ripe watermelon is like this guy right here. This is actually called the Jumbo Black Diamond. And look at this guy. All right, I'm gonna try to bench press it. Oh man, this guy is heavy, must be like 50 plus pounds. It's insane. And so the next tip is actually, you wanna get a watermelon that's not like the largest in the bunch, but you wanna get one that's heavy for the same size. So if you pick up two watermelons of the same exact size, one's lighter, one's heavier, right? Get the one that's heavier, because guess what? That's more water content. It's like fresher, there's more liquid in there. And if it's kind of lighter, then it's not gonna be as ripe. It may be drying out on the inside and not gonna be as sweet for sure. So yeah, next tip, get one heavy for its size, even if it's not a Jumbo Black Diamond. So the next tip I wanna share with you guys is just one in my arsenal of tips that I wanna share with you guys. It's not like, it's one of the ones I use the most because it's kind of the easiest to kind of separate out the good from the bad, but of course you wanna incorporate my other tips into selecting a watermelon for you and your family. So basically that is the sound test or the tap test. So for example, this guy right here, it's actually called the McKay watermelon. If we tap it, I'll put it up near the mic, or we'll put it on the table here actually. We'll tap it. You hear how that sounds? It's kind of like, it's not like super like high, it's not super low, it's kind of somewhere in the middle, like just resonant, like you're tapping on your chest. Kind of sounds the same, and then hear this one. It's kind of higher pitched, right? We wanted somewhere in between this range, and if we go over to this one next door, this is actually called a Smyrna, and we tap this guy. You hear like it doesn't really have like, you hear the difference? That one, this one, it's all right, but this one's better. And this one, it's like the worst. So yeah, use the tap test, and it should sound kind of like you're beating on your chest if you forget what it's supposed to sound like. But yeah, just another indicator that a watermelon may be ripe. So the next tip I want to share with you guys is also a good indicator, but this alone does not necessarily mean it's going to be a good watermelon, right? I want you guys to take all these factors into consideration and find a melon with all these things that I'm sharing with you guys, and then you have a high probability of getting a really good melon for you and your family. So the next tip, this is actually called a Klondike Blue striped melon. That's a nice tap, listen to that. That's a good sign. I push on it, right? Doesn't depress, another good sign. It's kind of heavy for its weight, maybe a little bit lighter than I'd like, but it has the next indicator, which I don't know if you guys can see that. Oops, it's right here, oops, right here, oops, I just knocked it. I don't know if you guys see that, but basically what happens is like this little black, oops, it dropped. Well, there's some more, don't worry. There's a little black spot, and basically those are like sugar spots. And so also on the end tip, where it's taken off the vine, you guys can see right around here, there's like a little bit of like, it's like brown, or it's like, it looks like dried like syrup or sap, or dried molasses or something like that. That's another good sign that it's gonna be definitely a good watermelon. But just because you see this doesn't mean it's gonna be good, right? You wanna look for the other indicators as well. So let's go move on and show you guys the next indicator of a definitely good melon. So now I want to share with you guys the next tip or indicator for finding a good melon. And once again, these tips relate to like checking the same variety of melon. You know, you can't compare like this melon to the one next to it that's like, you know, a different color or a different variety, right? But basically amongst the same variety of melon, and this is actually called the Osh Kiragiza, something like that. You guys can see like they're all a certain color. These kind of like aren't like super dark green, but that's all right because melons come in all different colors. But what is important is when you find the melons that are supposed to be a certain way, you're gonna see ones that are kind of like deeper, rich colors and ones that are lighter in color. So clearly looking at this, like this one looks like a deep one. And if we look at this one here, you guys can see it's like a little bit more white. It's not maybe full color. This may be an indicator of ripeness, like, you know, an immature fruit's not gonna be fully colored up, and more mature fruits can be have full color to it. So yeah, in this case, this is probably one that I actually would not get. And the one here that has a much better color, even maybe this one next door, a little bit deeper, richer color, you know, more stimulating to my eye, would also be a good choice. Now I want to share with you guys a common tip that's given for many people about selecting watermelons, and you know, I haven't necessarily found it to be true, but it may be accurate for you. So what we have here is we actually have a watermelon. It's actually called the pie melon. And one of the big tips that people like to say is like, you want to look for the yellow spot on the bottom. That's where it was like sitting on the ground and it didn't actually get the sun. And if it has a big yellow spot, then it's going to be sweeter. I personally actually haven't found that to be true personally. I would definitely use the other tips that I shared with you guys in this video before I just like, oh, it has a big yellow spot, I'm getting it, right? I don't know about that one. But let me go ahead and share my last and final tip with you guys, and probably one of the most important ones, you know, so you can guarantee you get a good watermelon. So my last and final tip for you guys, what we're looking at now is actually the New Hampshire midget watermelon. And once again, you know, just because a watermelon's small, don't like, oh, John said that's bad, you need that big giant one. No, you want a biggest one for the size. So like, you know, some of these midget melons are actually quite small, and this is one that's actually a little bit bigger and actually heavy for its size. Some of these melons are a little bit over and not so good because they're kind of lighter. But here's the final tip that I share with you guys, right? If you guys are not buying a whole watermelon, it's always easier and better to buy a cut watermelon, because with a cut watermelon, you can instantly see if it's ripe or not. You can be able to smell it easier, and you can see what the flesh looks like, right? So this one is actually broken open on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see that, but on the inside, look, this is like, I can depress it and it just is spongy on the inside, right? So this one, you know, if we press on the outside, it depresses like a ripe avocado, so that's not a good thing. Also, this is light for its weight. That's another thing. And then when we open it up, it's spongy on the inside. Not gonna be good, you know. And if I bought this one, which I wouldn't, but if I got it for like free or something, they're giving it away, I'd actually juice it up to make watermelon juice in my juicer, and it would be quite delicious to drink still, but may not be so sweet and may not be the optimal melon. But if it was a cut melon and had plastic over it, right, you could, number one, smell it. I mean, it smells faintly, you know, pretty good, but not like super odoriferous or sweet. You would also be able to see, like, if it looks like mealy on the inside, and you'd be able to depress it if your finger goes into it really easy. That's not gonna be a good melon. So I do encourage you guys, if you don't know how to pick a melon and wanna make sure you get a good one, ask the produce guy if they'll cut one in half, and if they'll pick one, and then they'll cut it in half for you, and then you can just buy a cut watermelon. That's a lot safer method to ensure you get a ripe watermelon. You know, despite all my tips. So now that I shared with you guys all my tips on how to pick a good watermelon, we're gonna go ahead and put my tips to the actual tests. Because here at the Heirloom Expo, besides displaying all the heirloom watermelons, they have a whole bunch of extra ones that they're selling for just $5. And I'm hungry for lunch because I haven't eaten yet, so this is gonna be my lunch today. I'm gonna pick it out and use some of the techniques that I just shared with you guys. So they got all these different pallets of watermelons here. So the first step is, you know, just kind of like look at them all, and if it's the same variety, which in most cases it's going to be the same exact variety, you want to get a nice colored one. But the way I kind of go by first to kind of like separate out the good from the bad is just start tapping them. So I'm going to go around to all the different, you know, pallets and tap, and then find a couple nice ones that I really like. I'll take all the nice ones and like put them in a certain area, and then I'll like pick from those best nice ones and further inspect the fruit, you know, lift it, to check the weight, see if I see any sugar marks, and also put it up to my face and smell it to see if it smells pretty good. You can also smell it as you're tapping them to see if there's like a good wafty odor, because smell is probably one of the most important things to determine a ripe watermelon. So I'm gonna go around and start tapping. Now right here, you guys could hear that. It sounds kind of like hollow. Also press on it, of course, it's a little bit soft, not a good sign. This one's really soft. You guys can't see me press on it, but I don't know, a little bit soft. I don't like that so much. This one definitely not sounding too good here. Playing the drums, playing the watermelon drums. All right, so I've been looking through all these watermelons and I basically found one that sounds pretty nice. And actually, this one has that tag. Most of them don't have a tag. This is actually called refined sugar. So with a name like that, it's got to be sweet, provided it's ripe. And I don't encourage you guys to eat refined sugar unless it's refined sugar watermelons. So let's see, let's smell this guy. I mean, he has a very mild odor. And if we're looking at it, oh man, like I don't know if you guys can see that, but right out the non-stem end, there's like some of those little sugar marks that I was telling you guys about coming out the end. So that looks like it might be pretty good. I mean, for its size, it's a pretty small watermelon. It's actually quite heavy, so that's a good sign as well. And once again, if we try to push on it, like it doesn't give like a ripe avocado. Like you don't want it like that. In general, those ones are kind of getting too old. So yeah, there's no you know, sun mark or like yellow spot on it or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, this one looks like a good one for me. We're gonna go ahead and pay for it, and then I'll cut it open and I'm gonna taste it on the camera, let you guys know how it is. So now I've selected and bought my refined sugar watermelon. We're gonna cut it open for you, and I'm gonna share with you guys some tips and let you guys know how it was. Hopefully it's pretty good. All right, got my ceramic knife here. I like ceramic knives. It doesn't impart flavor to your food like stainless steel may. Plus they stay sharper longer, and I find a lot of people don't sharpen their knives regularly. So that's why I like the ceramic. All right, so I put this into the melon, and all of a sudden it just starts to crack even if I'm not cutting it. So that's definitely a good sign. All right, let's see what it looks like on the inside. All right, look at that. Nice, deep, rich red melon. All right, we're smelling it. Well, faint odor on the inside. Now here I want to explain to you guys the sweetest part of the melon. The sweetest part of the melon is not by the rind. It's always like right in the middle of it. So if you're like eating it yourself, you can always dig out the middle and serve the rest to other people. Or the other thing, the technique I use sometimes, instead of eating like the middle first and getting the sweetest part, is I eat the outside around the edges first and then eat the middle for the, you know, the treat at the end. So we're gonna go ahead and take the knife here, and I'm gonna slice out a little section here.
Hey, Vitali.
Definitely think I did good this time. Could be sweeter, but definitely happy with my $5 purchase. And this is gonna feed me, and maybe some other people here, lunch today. In the food booth area with all the food booths behind me, man. And like, you can buy plates of food for like 10 bucks, but man, watermelon for $5. This is more than a meal for me. If you guys enjoyed this episode learning about how to pick a watermelon and my tips that I shared with you guys, hey, please give me a thumbs up. Be sure to let me know. Also be sure to come out to the 2017 Heirloom Expo so you guys could eat some of this crazy, delicious heirloom watermelon and learn more about heirloom and growing your own food at home. The homegrown food, some of the best food that money can't buy. Also be sure to check out my past episodes. I have over 400 episodes now on this YouTube channel dedicated to teaching guys how to eat fruits and vegetables, because they are my favorite foods in the whole entire world. And be sure to share this video with somebody that doesn't know how to pick watermelons so they can improve their skills. And be sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming episodes. I'm coming out about every 5 to 7 days. You never know where I'll show up or what you'll be learning on my YouTube channel. So once again, my name is John Kohler with OKRAW.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, remember, keep eating your fresh fruits and vegetables. They're always the best. All right, this is John Cola with OKRAW.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what we're gonna do today is one of my famous produce haul videos. And actually what I got this time at the Los Angeles Wholesale Produce Terminal, and also when I went to some farmers